It wasn't that long ago. I talk like I was like back in the day when I was teaching.
I will tell you guys this now, but I will also tell you later because we do have some attendees in already. Alex is going on paternity leave next week.
Ooh, big daddy.
Nice. Congratulations.
Daddy for
Thank
the
you.
fourth time. So it's not new daddy or anything.
My
Daddy
fourth paternity
fourth
leave.
time.
Really?
And
Fourth one? Oh, and he's still smiling too. Look at him.
yes. And so he is the webinar guy and he is just awesome at all of this. And so he's going to be gone for 4 weeks and I am doing the webinars. And we, like Shima said, how could you be an educator? We did not use Zoom in our district. We did Google Meets. So
Good time back then.
And that's okay.
It's okay. So I'm a little bit, if I like want to have, on the movie with the space shuttle, you put don't press this button, it ejects everybody. I want to have a button or a sticky note over the end, but
when you do yours, then cool. I'm back. Sorry, we're filling out our travel docs for ISTE.
Well, and I forget it's 3:30. You're in the middle of your fun.
Yes.
Yeah, my kids are playing right now in their esports tournament.
Oh, fun. Very fun. I have one more person. Hold on here. I just forgot. I'm looking for Tyson. If Tyson shows up, we will need to promote Tyson.
Okay.
Julie, did you see I dropped us down a new ambassador meeting date for us?
Thank you. Tuesdays. What time?
But feel free to move it around though. I just dropped it in as a tentative. Okay. I think like 9:15 your time.
Okay. My life just got really busy. I took over a new pathway, so I'll be doing the ag pathway, and I'll be doing the internship program. So
man, you're so popular.
Oh, wow. The internship program we just talked about. I've talked about that with several people today in Texas and in Kansas. We've talked about that. And what's funny is at our alternative school, we did internships for all 60 to 70 kids at a time. We did it third 9 weeks and everybody did it. And the reason we did this is because their transportation was so sketchy that they would get to school, we would take attendance, and then our faculty would drive everybody to their internships. Wow, and so we would do it was great. It was great. We would do internships from 9 to 9:30, like that's when everybody arrived, to 11 to 11:30. Everybody. So it was awesome.
The way that we're actually gonna, I think, open centers, like where our industry partners will work directly with our kids. So they want to build out so that we have CNC machines and welding, and like each one will be a little different. And then our partners will come to us, which is what they've requested, and for the first semester, and then the kids will go to them the second semester. So they can train the kids the way they want them trained.
Yes.
So that'll be fun. It. And we're gonna, the centers will be like, we have, I'm sure you guys do too, abandoned shopping malls and places that are right next door to our high schools or something like that. So they want to purchase or lease, part of those spaces and then fit them for whatever works for those pathways that are close to those high schools or in those high schools already.
When you start getting into that type of stuff, you're getting into some OSHA and all of that stuff has.
Fortunately,
Awesome.
we're working with we have a nonprofit called Career Nexus, and they'll take on like all of the tougher things that are hard to get through a large district. So like the lease, they'll do that. Those certain OSHA requirements and all that, they'll take care of that. So I'm like, I just don't have the bandwidth to manage that.
Yeah.
So it's not just me. There's several of us all together working on it.
But our, the people that we were working with, the businesses, they appreciated that because they said they didn't mind. I mean, it's such an investment because when you have a high school student there, they can't do a whole ton,
Mhm.
and so, it was like 2 hours a day, some person, and we only did it 3 days a week. They were actually only on at their site 3 days a week. Hi, Tyson. But it was such an investment of time for the business. And they said, you know what? We don't mind investing the time as long as the kid shows up. That was their biggest complaint was here, we've invested this time. We have some of the internships were just incredible, and they would invest the time and then they would, have the person, they'd have the activity or whatever the kid was supposed to do, and then the kid wouldn't show up, and it was so humiliating, it was so embarrassing for the school,
Yeah.
So. All right. Well, I think we'll give us a couple of minutes here. We have some people coming in, all of our panelists. Thank you, Jennifer, Julie, Tyson, for being here so much for being here.
So Tyson.
Tyson might not be able to hear us.
All right.
Oh, maybe not. Tyson, I put a message in the chat just in case you can hear us, but we can't hear you.
I'm not when I hear that, I'm just gonna be yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I got everybody's names all appropriate.
Very good. Thank you.
That look good?
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes.
Yes, thanks.
Hello.
We can hear you.
There it is.
Hi,
Oh,
Tyson.
Okay,
Hello.
here we go. Very good. Very good.
Okay, I think I can hear you all as well.
Great. Great. And you're coming through loud and clear.
Perfect.
Yeah, good, nice bass in that mic.
Well,
I
just go
I
ahead.
had to go grab one of the gaming headsets from our room because my computer was not liking my other stuff.
Oh, that's some legit
Makes it more
equipment there.
authentic.
Exactly.
Well, we have a good group in here. And so just for time's sake, I think we'll go ahead and start with introductions. That gives everyone a little bit more time. I have already told a little bit of this group with everybody that's here, and I know people are still coming in, but just so everyone knows, I have control of the webinar today because
scary.
I know, because Alex Herby is going on paternity leave next week. He's taking 4 weeks, so we're super excited. Baby number 4 is coming, and so he I don't know if that's a vacation or not. Definitely not.
I wouldn't
would
call
say.
it that.
Yes. So he's going to be away from us for a little bit, and I am going. He is our go-to person for webinars, and so everybody's taking on our own webinars, and I'm doing it for the education department or this part of the education department. So I want to put one of those big sticky notes that says "Do not touch the end button." And eject everybody out of the spaceship. And so if for some reason things go crazy, please just click back on, because it means that I have some control and I did something wrong. So Welcome, everyone. We're super excited that you can be here. This particular webinar is specific to our California educators. We're going to talk, we have some panelists here that can talk about gaming concepts. They can talk specifically about California A through G, and they can talk about gaming and esports and all of that stuff. So we have a presentation that we're going to give that so that we can make sure and do the things that we said we were going to do in the webinar. And then we're going to open it up to questions and get to what we need to out of this. So a little bit about me, Christy Custer. I worked for Generation Esports for the last 1.5 years. I spent 24 years in education, 4 years as an English journalism teacher at a traditional high school, and then I spent 20 years at an alternative school, and then 10 of those years I was the principal there. So about 1.5 years ago, I decided to do something different, do something a little bit fun after my colleague Michael Russell and I wrote esports curriculum that our district implemented for credit 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago. We were trying to decide if it was 6 or 7 years ago. So we have had this around in our local districts for 6 or 7 years for credit. And this little company called Microsoft, they put that on their educator community, and it got downloaded 400,000 times in 40 countries. And so that's my that's how I ended up at Generation Esports, and I'm super excited to be here. And so I'll pass this off to Shima.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm number 2. Hi, everybody. Chris Shima from Generation Esports. I am the West Region Scholastic Esports Specialist here to serve you. I've been a teacher for over 18 years. I'm actually a Southern California boy, born and raised, but I've been living here with my family in Colorado for the last 10 years. And it was out here that I actually started one of the very first esports teams in the high school level, and actually ran a very small statewide league for about 5 years before my team started playing with Generation Esports in the high school esports league. And that's how I got to know them. And now I work for them. So yes, happy to be here.
Alex.
Hi, Alex Irby here. I also was a teacher for 10 years before coming to join Generation Esports. I was a shop teacher and computer science teacher during those 10 years, and started the esports program at my school near Kansas City. And now I am the integrations manager for Generation Esports, which is a confusing title that says that I do all the technology stuff behind.
He's the glue
on the
He's
education
the glue.
side. The glue.
The glue, yes.
And then we have 3 panelists today. Jennifer, we're going to start with you, so I won't throw you into the fire too as much as I did Shima right off the bat. Jennifer Welch from Pacific Point. Can you tell us a little bit about you?
Hi, I work for a mid-range, about 450 students district-wide preschool through 12th grade. I am the district IT. I'm the only IT. I teach a couple junior high classes, computer science and gaming concepts 1 and 2 for high school, and I run the esports.
So for us, Jennifer was. Oh, I'm sorry, Jennifer. Go ahead.
This is my 2nd year doing the gaming concepts in my class, and we are A through G approved, so yay.
That's what I was going to say. Fun fact for Jennifer, for us at Generation Esports, she was the first person to use the A through G designation, the program designation A through G in her class. She was the first person that popped up. So we appreciate getting to know her. And then Julie.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julie Mavergeorge. I'm from Fresno Unified. I'm the oddball out in this group, as I have never been a teacher. I actually came from industry. I started out in IT, and now I'm in career technical education. I started the first Minecraft esports elementary district-wide league in the United States in the middle of our pandemic. I also help run Fuel, Fresno Unified Esports League, and I take care of all of the curriculum, class integration, just growth of industry partners. And I'm also a Generation Esports ambassador and a game plan ambassador, and the current NACAD High School Director of the Year.
Fancy. And
Fancy.
Mr. Tyson. Yes, and Mr.
I
Tyson.
have to follow that. I teach English. I've been teaching for a while. Been playing games longer than I've been teaching, but the program for my school is really new. This is our first official year as with the esports program. I ran a like small gaming club for several years, and then one of our community members passed me the link to Generation Esports, and here we are.
Yes. So we tried to get a group of panelists that could speak to many different, everybody takes a journey, everyone's on a path into esports. And so we tried to pick some panelists that could answer different questions coming from a different lens. And so we'll go ahead and just jump in. Just a couple of housekeeping things. Go ahead. We just want you to ask questions as you want to ask questions. And so if you can put those questions in the chat, both
The Q&A.
You prefer the Q&A. So if you could put those questions in the Q&A, then Shima and Alex will both be answering those. Jennifer, Julie, and Tyson, please feel free to jump in on those questions also. Feel free.
Actually, if somebody could test out and put a test question in the Q&A, I want to make sure everything's working okay.
Yeah.
Anyone, ask any question you want.
The challenge a little bit is only hosts and panelists can see open questions. So
yeah, we can see them, but I have it set for allowing attendees to submit questions.
Okay,
So
perfect.
let's see.
Perfect. Remember, I'm new at this, so I appreciate that.
That's in the chat,
Yeah,
Emily. Yeah, that's good though. That's good.
Yeah.
See the Q&A button down below? Like, see if you can drop that question in the Q&A. Let me see if it pops up there. If not, I'll take ones in the chat too.
Blue.
There it is.
There we
That's
go.
awesome, Emily.
There we
Yes.
go.
Thank you. Yes.
There we go. Okay. Thank you very much, Emily. And so go ahead and put those in the question and answer. Feel free to raise your hand if you want to stop me, or if we can get in here and just like you did, Shima, just jump right in and stop me on anything that you have, a lot, if you're getting a lot of questions on, and other than that, we'll just start rolling. All right. So the first thing that we wanted to show you these are some of the California schools who love esports and who love gaming concepts. The reason that we wanted to put this in here is that's often the first question that we get asked is, who else is doing this? Who's already jumped? And it just makes us feel better when we're not the first ones. And especially, I am from Kansas, and Kansas schools are notorious for this. We see what's happening on the East Coast. We see what's happening on the West Coast, and we just wait a while. We just sit and wait a while, see how that's working out for you guys. And so a lot of times you guys are the trailblazers out in California and, doing things right. And so these are some other schools that you can lean on to find out, is this my size of school? Are these larger schools? What did you do right? What did you do wrong? What do you wish you would have known? These are some of your schools.
Julie, you like how you're number one there?
Yeah. The next thing that we're going to talk about is just a little bit for those of you that are new, especially to gaming concepts. This is not a sales call. That's not what we're doing here. It's just to let you know a little bit about, what's available, because a lot of people don't, when they think of esports, typically they think of competition. That's what they think is esports. I think that we're just on the cusp of esports and what it's going to do and how it's going to be transformational for schools. And so just like in our district, we used esports as a hook to get kids to come to school. That was my number one objective as the principal of our school, was just attendance. And so we saw some pretty astounding attendance numbers. Our goal at our school was an 85% attendance rate. And the first year that we implemented esports, those students had a 94% attendance rate. And I said, that's a weird group of students. You know how you get those sometimes. And then the second year that we implemented esports in our school, we had a 96% attendance rate for those students that were taking that class during the school day. And so I like to say, offer it in the morning and get those kids there, offer that class in the morning, and then offer the esports, the competition piece after school. The other thing about thinking about esports, so we've got this in-school piece where we're not teaching about esports. We're not teaching how to play a video game. We're teaching what skills are students learning as they are learning about video games or as they're playing video games. And so like I said, it's just the hook there. And then the competition piece. And then the third piece that people don't think about is there's a lot of kids that they just want to be involved in something. They need a why. And so for that, there's a huge ecosystem involved, and we need shoutcasters, and we need streamers, and we need people that do the social media, that create the jerseys. So there's a lot of jobs and a lot of ways that students can be involved in esports. And so some of the courses that align with California standards, and the first one is, this is the course that we always say start with, and it's a fundamentals course, and it's just an introductory esports course. And so this fundamentals course, it teaches about perseverance, it teaches about delayed gratification, theory crafting, data analyzing. There's purposeful play in all of our courses, and that purposeful play is, let's say they learned about color during the day in an interactive digital media course. And so in a traditional digital media course, they might say, you know, why is this room this color? Well, if you're doing it from an esports lens, you would say something like, how does a 6-year-old that doesn't read, how do they know which direction to go? And they start talking about, well, there's directional cues with color in the video game. And so then when they play the video game during that purposeful play time, they apply that, what they learned about color and directional cues, to the game that they're playing. So that's some of the things that are in that fundamentals course, and also that interactive media course. That interactive media course, it is the technical course that aligns with the interactive media class, and that's in the arts, media, and entertainment pathway. Then we also have a streaming course that aligns to speaking and listening standards, that aligns to speech standards. And so once again, a lot of kids don't like that communications course that they have to take, or the speech course that they have to take, and they don't like to stand up and give speeches. Sometimes that's in that English course. But if you put a microphone and a video camera in front of them, all of a sudden, call it streaming, all of a sudden you have tons of kids showing up for your classes. The other courses that we offer, shoutcasting, broadcasting. This one is a journalism class. And so once again, kind of like that streaming class, put a microphone and a video camera in front of them, call it shoutcasting, and you've got something exciting for the students. The other fun thing about the shoutcasting courses is there's a lot of students that don't think that they are journalists. They don't think this is not a career field. This is not a career pathway that I would ever be interested in. But when you start calling it shoutcasting, they're like, well, of course I love shoutcasting. You know, what kid doesn't like shoutcasting? Or I'm really good at shoutcasting. I'm good at calling the game. And so this is a way to get kids who you otherwise might not have thought would be involved in esports involved. We also have a middle school course, and this is a transitional time. I always say middle school is where everything falls apart. For all of you middle school teachers, you go from let's all hold hands and stick together at the elementary school, and you have one teacher that you can depend on and a group of students that you see every day, to that middle school where it's sink or swim. And a lot of students at the middle school level sink. And so this is a way where students can use esports as the thing that brings them together, especially for those kids that don't have, again, a why for school. So that is our middle school course. And then coming soon, we push this back just a little bit, actually. It's the cybersecurity course. It's very exciting. Schools around the country, you know, cybersecurity is a very hot career field right now. And the problem with cybersecurity that we're getting from input from teachers is that kids will start on that first cybersecurity course, and it's all theory, and it's all definitions, and it's all boring. And so they'll have 100 kids in that first cybersecurity course, and then it'll quickly fall down to 12. And so we really want to get kids, if we can do cybersecurity through an esports lens, keep kids excited and show them that this is how cybersecurity applies to, and this is why it's important to their lives. And then we will also have the esports application class coming in the fall of 2024 also. So a little bit more about the CTE pathways. Once again, it's in the arts, media, and entertainment cluster. And in game design, it's in both places, game design and integration. That's that interactive media. And then that journalism is that shoutcasting course. You might, because school by school, course names are a little bit different. These two courses align exactly with like digital multimedia or digital technology, interactive media, broadcast journalism. And the reason I bring this up is some people don't realize that there's several ways that you can bring esports courses into your schools. Jennifer, I'm going to call on you in just a second. So key here, because I know how you did it, but some people will want to bring it in, you know, as the A through G course, and this is a new course, and we're going to put it in our course catalog this way, and we're going to, you know, teach us this way and do it this way. And so that's one way to do it. And then the other way to do it is a lot of our materials can just be used as resources. And so you don't have to start with a full esports course. You can sprinkle esports because it is such a hook. It is so exciting. And so we want to make sure that educators know you don't have to be great at esports. You don't have to be a lifelong, like Tyson is, you know, has played video games longer than he's been a teacher by far. You can be that person who, like me, I'm only really interested in video games because I have a 19-year-old, a 17-year-old, and a 9-year-old, and I'm immersed in it every day. And so you can sprinkle it in a lot of your courses. Jennifer, will you tell us a little bit about how you got that started?
I did the sprinkling at first. So I incorporated a couple of chapters from the fundamentals into my my computer science class. And then last year, I actually made it a full-fledged class. And then those students still want to be in my class. So then I incorporated the exploring interactive media this year as well. So within one class period, I have 3 classes actually going on in one class period. So it's, they're all enjoying it. The students are very plugged in, and the concepts they're learning are tremendous.
Okay, thank you very much. The other,
Can I pipe in just a minute?
yes,
Christy?
go for it. I was like, oh, something happened.
No, sorry. So
Go for
our
it, Julie, please do.
what we use it, so we have arts, media, and entertainment pathways in several of our schools. And I approached a couple of our video production teachers, and they do like what you said, the sprinkling. So the class is already completed, but so at our fuel tournament this last in December, we had 2 students who were broadcasting using the broadcast van from a local nonprofit. We rotated 12 students shoutcasting live at the event. And then we had a whole set of, there were 6 students that were videoing the entire event. And then they in turn created the B-roll and the pictures for the website and the social media posts and things like that. So it's a really easy way. And I'll just add in that our teachers love the mental health moments that they're able to input into each of that as well, because now they're able to, you know, as far as like hooking a kid, right? If you tell them you don't get enough sleep, you're not going to get good grades. Well, they really don't care as much as if you tell them, if you don't get good sleep, it's going to affect your play or your ability to run a camera or to be present during that broadcast. And then they make the connection. And so then they're, like you said, attending, and they are sleeping better, they're eating better, like all of those things. So it's wonderful to have those pieces integrated within the curriculum. That's my favorite part.
So Julie, can you talk just a little bit more about, you know, those mental health moments?
Sure. So, you know, when we gave the curriculum to the teachers who are our coaches, right? So we haven't actually, it isn't a full-fledged class because we're a super large district. We have 74,000 kids. We have 7 comprehensive and 7 all ed sites. And so it takes like more than a year and a half to get things into our program. But they were so excited about the content. They're like, well, let's at least give it out to our coaches so they can start using it. So what they're doing is they're reading through, you know, and they may not be able to teach a lesson at practice, you know, a full lesson, but what they do is they'll pull out like a mental health moment and they'll say, okay, kids, let's talk about making the connection between, you know, your emotional well-being and what's happening at home, or what's happening, are you, you know, bullying at school, or how you feel that day, just if you're feeling kind of yucky, and you know, making that internal connection between how you feel and how that affects your play and your life. And you know, I don't necessarily know the very specifics of the you know, each individual student or each individual coach, but what they do report back is that students are overall, their overall health and wellness is improving because they're beginning to understand how everything correlates, and is integrated together within themselves and with their teammates. And so it's also building a lot of camaraderie between them. And, you know, I want to say like small groups, you know, kind of kids that are now, who would not normally be friends necessarily. Like you have the football player and, you know, maybe a student who's autistic, right? But now all of a sudden they have a common ground and they're talking about real life, you know, struggles and also successes, and sharing those with each other. And it's just creating this amazing, you know, just team, more than I would say a traditional sport. Cause I don't know how, you know, when I coached, I as a person like would spend time with little groups of kids or individuals, but you know, most coaches I think don't do that with their students, and yet the kids are doing it themselves. So it's really awesome.
Right. And Tyson, I just see you shaking your head and doing a lot of agreeing. Can you add to that, please?
Yeah, I'd like to share a I don't know, testimonial, whatever you want to call it, about the mental health moments. So from my site, esports was a really hard sell. I've had a lot of resistance even for like the gaming club. I had a lot of parents call me and say, you know, you're just, what is my kid doing, staying after school and playing, you know, Dungeons and Dragons and these video games. And the kids stuck through it. And then when we got this course, I had a lot more kind of like, I mean, I could talk about, yeah, they use communication skills when they're, you know, talking to each other in the video games, but now with the mental health moments, I had a lot more things to think about. We got done with one of the course sections, which was all about food and health. And part of the lesson was like their homework. The kids would have to document the food they were eating and how much sleep they were getting and things like that. And like for me as a teacher, I know obviously like I teach at a really impoverished site, and so health is a big concern. It's difficult for kids to eat healthy here. But like when I saw their reports, they were like, you know, like 80 monster drinks a day, McDonald's. And I was like, you guys. And like, so that was a really good, they came in and like, I put up all of their stuff on the board and I was like, how are you guys alive? Like actually with all of the stuff that you're drinking and eating. And so like, that really opened a pathway to kind of like reach my community and say like, hey, you know, we don't have a home ec class, for example. And so it's not very often that, other than like PE, but I was able to bring this and show the community like, this is a problem. We need to stop selling soda to kids and monster drinks and things like that. But the food one is one of my favorites. But the mental health moments, among many, have been a really nice way for me to kind of like present esports, as many of the people here are saying, is like, it's not just about video games. Here are these really important lessons that can be taught through video games as a medium. That's
Right.
it.
Thank you for that. And so a lot of people are in awe when we start talking about that. And, you know, we're starting to talk on this webinar and we're not talking about video games. We're talking about health and we're talking about, all of these mental health things. And it kind of makes people wonder a little bit, what the great thing about video games that we know is about 97% of kids play video games. And so it's this common that, where else in society do we find this common experience that all of these kids have had, many adults have had, and we can really find it through esports. A study that there's actually been several studies, but the one that if you've ever tried to publish, you're going back and forth with the journal that we're hoping to be published in, and some of our data that they have allowed us to release, because it's data that's just, this is the way it is. Like, this is not going to change. This is the way it is. These are the facts. And so this is a piece of the data. And it was that the self-esteem, the RSES impact is self-esteem for every cohort. Pretty much every cohort went up, and especially, the females, the LGBTQ community. You can also see males, Blacks, Hispanics. These cohorts that we have a hard time reaching. These cohorts that everybody's looking for. How do we help these people? And especially for the females and LGBTQ, what has happened to them since COVID? Suicide rates have gone sky high. And so, the Surgeon General said we need a quick, coordinated response, and we need resources. And all of us teachers went, give me a resource. And I haven't seen quick and coordinated so far. And so this is a way that we can talk about these things. This is something teachers do automatically. That's what the mental health moments is about. When we thought about how do we want these came from teachers to teachers, because we are not, experts in this. We are not trained, as experts in this, yet we're on the front lines having to do all of this. And so that's where those mental health moments came from. Shima?
I think it was you, Christy, that might have first turned me on to this stat, which is the percentage of kids that have never gotten lessons about perseverance and responsibility and teamwork that we usually learn on soccer teams or football teams or volleyball teams or part of the theater. But there's a big percentage of kids that have never been part of programs like this, where we would normally learn these lessons when we're younger, and not, what pathways do we have for those kids to be able to learn those? What was that statistic for those kids that join esports programs, where it's like this is their first time being part of an organization like that? It's something really high. What did you have?
At our school, it was between 80 to 90%, but we're seeing a lot of it 70 to 90%. As it gets more and more and more, more kids are getting involved. But this is what I'll tell school districts when administrators or school board members or anybody really asks me, who are we looking for here? I will tell them, run your chronic absentee list and cross-reference that with your group of students who are not involved in a school activity. And that's your gold right there. Because how do you raise test scores? How do you raise attendance percentages? How do you do all that? You do it from the bottom. You don't do it from the top. If you really want to make an impact, you do it from the bottom. And that's really what we're trying to do. Tyson?
I just wanted to, you can tell me to like stop jumping in.
No,
if
please.
I just wanted to add on to this, my personal experience with these groups. So at my school, it's already really small, super small site. I think we had like 120 kids last year, and that was like really big for us. So it's very, we don't have a lot of electives outside of sports. And so for a lot of the groups that you've mentioned, with how important sports are to my really small site, there's a lot of students who like really want the camaraderie that comes from sports and like the sense of belonging, but they're either not athletic enough, or like they don't like the sport and things like that. And so the students that have showed up to like just for the class and also to compete, it's really kind of become a like haven for a lot of these students that feel that the school doesn't have anything for them, that there's no activities, there's no sense of belonging here. I feel kind of bad, but it's also successful for like the esports elective we have here. I've like stolen kids from like 4 other electives because they either got forced into the elective because there was nothing else for them, or they were like, hey, this seems interesting and new and exciting. So I really just wanted to piggyback off of what Dr. Custer was saying about the fact that like esports can really be like a binding, a source of belonging for a lot of these kids who previously didn't have that.
Okay, so switching gears just a little bit, this is in our title. We wanted to make sure throughout the years, people have said, I kept hearing about California A through G, California A through G. And so we did go through the California A through G process. Gaming Concepts is actually approved as a California A through G program. And so that was being from Kansas. I had not gone through that process before. And so I learned a lot about the California educational system and what your values are. Just really admire that. Jennifer, you were the first one to go through. Can you take us through what that looks like? You know, the California A through G. If you are, we had Shima had a teacher that reached out because did not know what to do, how to do this. And so can you take us through what this looks like and where people should start?
Yes, I am so happy you guys are now A through G approved, because last year I had to do I took some of the chapters from the fundamentals, and then I had to piecemeal, because as you know, you have to write up your units. And so I had to kind of piecemeal and call it a Gaming Concepts with Design, so I could get it A through G approved last year. So I was so happy when this came through. It was literally under 5 minutes to get approved for A through G. It's you log in, whoever's doing the curriculum usually is the one that gets on and gets the A through G approvals for your school. They just log in, look up the esports, and you just add it in, and it's approved almost instantaneously.
Because we are approved.
Because you're approved. So
yeah.
it
My
makes
part
the
was not
process
instantaneous.
It was, yeah. For us now, it's instantaneous.
Yes.
So you say that you want it approved, and the course is approved like instant. And I was ecstatic. So thank you for all your work in getting that approved.
Yes. And thank you for all of the educators who reached out to me and started talking about this, and just, you know, this needs to happen, and then we made it happen. And so any other discussion about California A through G? I think the biggest thing is how important it is. And then the second biggest thing is how easy it is. And I just want to make sure everybody knows it is the whole the program is California A through G. It is a very rigorous, if you've never been through it, it's a very rigorous, process to go through. But then once you do it, once someone does it, then it makes it easier for everyone else. So any questions about that? It's Shima.
Jennifer, could you unpack a little bit about where Gaming Concepts is falling in A through G, and what needs is that meeting? Like at a real life example for a high school.
So G is electives. Let's say it could be an elective from a lot of different like any from the A through the F. It can be anything in there as well. Like if you had extra science class, it could be under G. So this is under G from my school as an elective. So it's an A through G approved elective.
Yes.
And using your school as an example, I'm sure every district is a little bit different. On average, for a graduating high school senior, how many classes do they need to have in the G category to graduate?
Well, overall, colleges are looking for at least 15 A through G approved courses.
Yes. And does it need to be like a certain amount of A's, a certain amount of B's, or just like you can have 15 G's and you're all good?
No, you have to have definitely not. Each category,
nice.
like you have science, language arts, foreign language. Each category is for each subject matter. Great. So yes, you have to have certain categories. You have to have a certain amount of A through G approved for those categories. Got it. 15. They want 15 overall.
I think it's, if I get your questions, I think it's 2 they have to have. It's 10 units of G.
10 units of G. Okay.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yes, at the minimum. Yes.
All right. Perfect.
Okay, we wanted to sit on this for just a second, just in case. Well, just continuing on with the A through G questions. Part of the California A through G process is there does need to be professional development, and part of that professional development piece at Generation Esports is that we are teachers, and so we're the three of us are all part of the great exodus, and so but it's kind of still part of education, but seeing education from a different lens, from the esports lens. And so we do have, statewide conferences, we go to regional meetings. Obviously we have the curriculum, and we also have our learning management system, which is Game Plan, which Alex is going to talk about. But we do group and individual onboarding. Like, we touch every school that's starting this, we touch it. We have office hours that we have a whole team of people that are called Success, and the Success stands for successful educators. We want this to be a positive experience for the educator so that it can be a positive experience for the kid. And so a lot of the things that we do are going to be unique to us because we have several hundred years of experience as educators. And so every time we do something, we think to ourselves, what does this look like in practice? Because that's what we were doing. So I mentioned the game plan. And so Alex is going to talk a little bit about the overall, what is game plan? And then he's going to tell, for those of you that are joining us, I see a lot of people in here whose names I recognize because I see you in game plan. And so there are some exciting things that are coming. And most of these exciting things that are coming is because you as educators tell us we have to have this.
Yeah. Thank you, Christy. Yeah. So as most of you know, and those of you that don't know, Game Plan is our digital learning platform where all of our content and more is housed. So not only is our content there, the gaming concepts courses in a full interactive, engaging, LMS-esque way, right? Where they can be, interacted with, you can assign content, you can submit content, kids can submit to you. There's, game reviews, there's annotations over. I mean, there's so much there. There's webinars specifically just for Game Plan. So I'm not going to get too much into it, but the best part about it is the educator community around it and how this is a platform that's developed by teachers. A lot of times you get a platform that you purchase through your district, and the platform, is very corporate, and they cater to the masses, and you'll go on their site and you'll try and do a feature request, or you'll go on their forums, and it's just inundated with thousands of posts, and it could be on the same thing, change this, and it never changes. It never changes. And so, we focus on how is this going to be used? Usability, UX and UI are the forefront of what this platform is all about. It has to be easy for teachers, it has to be easy for students, and it has to work well. So these here that I'm gonna talk about just in a second here, these new features, these are developed by teachers. These are so that we can, yes, accommodate the masses, but accommodate the masses of teachers, because that's who this is for. Okay. It's not for everybody. It's for our users, which are the teachers, right? So some of the things that are going to be coming, not many systems, digital learning platforms have a grade book you can customize to how your district grades. This is one of the coolest things we've been working on, where you will be able to decide, I want my grade book in points. I want it in pass fail. I want it standards or mastery based. I want it no grading at all. And I can pick that. I can pick that in my account setup. Working on a digital whiteboard. A lot of platforms have that, but is a whiteboard an assignment that you can assign to students that a group of students can work on collaboratively and submit as a turn-in, or to have as a classroom whiteboard as a free space to express ideas freely, just like the whiteboard would be in the room. If your teacher allows you to write on the whiteboard, that's a touchy subject, but I always did. And I thought that was fun. So, some really cool interactive stuff, and a lot more coming for sure. Bob, as you can see in my little animation here, I don't know if it'll play again. It might have been. There we go. You know, Bob, the mascot here for Game Plan that everybody loves, right? He's going to be working on. He will be doing onboarding when you sign into the platform for the first time. So he's going to be your little buddy that walks you through, you know, putting in your username and letting you know, hey, that username's already taken. Why don't you pick a different one? Or, you know, little fun stuff like that. He's going to be helping out with that. If your district uses Clever, then good news for you. Game Plan will be adding auto rostering with Clever later this month. I'm just going to count today as March. So later this month, this will be so cool. I've been seeing some of the dev work behind it. I've been looking at some of the processes that happen with it. It is cool stuff and so like efficient, so automatic. If you know what I'm talking about with Clever rostering, then yes, this will be awesome. Notifications are going to be getting an overhaul. We know that notifications can sometimes be bothersome when excuse me, sorry. Yeah, so I'm looking at chat. This is the problem. See, now that I'm talking, I can't look at chat. That's the problem. So we know that notifications can be bothersome. So we are working through a tailored experience of group notifications where teachers can decide how, what, when, where they get notifications and to really suit their needs. And finally, in platform messenger will be available. It's on the roadmap right now. Oops, and of course I just keep, there we go. There we go. My mouse is rolling. And in platform messenger is going to be developed so that students and teachers can have open communication with each other. Obviously, all types of privacy issues come up with that, and all of them will be worked through with all of the proper certifications through CAPA, FERPA, and all the other certifications for student privacy and data security in that. So. Good question here from Julie. Will the messenger service be locked to that teacher created class to make it secure? Yes. So it is the student messaging their teacher. That's it. And then admin will have complete transparency to see every message sent across their entire organization. So a lot of security and also transparency. So that is what's coming up in Game Plan. If anybody would like to learn more, our YouTube channel, our Gaming Concepts YouTube channel, we go into way into the weeds on how to use Game Plan and how awesome it is. But it is an amazing platform for anyone to be the best esports facilitator, coach, teacher, sponsor ever. So thank you. Oh, muted, Christy.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Jennifer, Tyson, and Julie. I know you guys use some of the things you do the same, similarly, but a lot of these things you do differently. Can you guys talk a little bit about how you're using this in your class, in your after school, just in your programs all together? Julie, you're unmuted, so why don't you start, ma'am?
I have a fancy mute on my. So
That's cool.
I know, right? So honestly, why I was asking about the messenger, like I have to say, so I'm speaking about future, I guess now, but that is going to be an amazing ad because Discord's blocked in our district, and so there's no way for our kids within esports to communicate with each other. We use Teams. Teams works well for some things, but it's difficult for others. And, so to have that feature where I can, as the district administrator, create an esports class, right? And then, or subclasses where I can have, team A, school A and school B, because they're competing this week, right? Or, that is just an amazing feature I'm looking forward to. So, but what our teachers use it for primarily is honestly, they'll use it for VOD review for their students. Again, it's our coaches who are using it, so they use it a lot for VOD review. They love
Julie,
the fact
can you talk a little bit about VOD review? I love how it just rolls off your tongue.
Sorry. So,
yeah.
so the meaning like they would screen capture the match that the students are playing. They can upload portions of those videos, and it looks like Alex is pulling it up. They can upload those certain portions so that then they can break down, okay, Rocket League for me is easy because it's like soccer, right? So, if well, we flanked, to the left here, but nobody covered the right. And so what is the strategy now that, Bob, you can come over here, where Steve, you're doing this, and Susie, you're going to do this. And they can talk about positioning and, how to best maneuver to make that thing happen. And they can actually look at, and you can draw on the screen, and you can point and show exactly where someone should be positioned for a certain play. And they can look at where their successes lie and where their weaknesses are and where they can improve. And then the other piece is just having the ability to listen to a professional player talk about how they strategize. Like when I love to show the one where the car is spinning and they're dribbling the ball in the air, and how he's talking about the mechanics that it takes in order to do that. And then the kids just kind of go right, because now it's broken down step by step, slow motion kind of thing. And then they can, literally, he says, okay, well, then you want to push the joystick like this, and the D bumper, and blah, 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 right. And I'm like, it just it helps new students who've never used it, or never really are new to Rocket League. And then, but also I've seen more seasoned players go, oh, I never thought about it like that. And those are the two features I think that I've seen anyway. And again, I'm not in the class like Jennifer or Tyson. I'm not the coach, but when I pop in and I see it, like, and the teachers using it, these are the things that the kids they're mind blown, by the amount of content that is in game plan that assists them.
Yeah. Tyson?
So I use I'm both the teacher and the coach, and it's super useful for both areas. Obviously, as part of the classroom, it's been really interesting to because I have a wide range of students. Like I have some students who are like complete experts in video games, and they'll watch pro games, they'll watch streamers and everything. And then I also have a good group of kids that have never even like when you tell them you can make money playing video games, they're like, huh, no way. And then you show them, like an actual esports competition arena, and their minds are blown. So the classroom stuff is really useful. It's easy to grade, it's easy to look at and everything. And then for like the expert courses, it's been really interesting because like there's so many good a wide variety of topics that they can look at. So don't tell my team, but like, so I don't know nothing about, or I don't know anything about Rocket League. And I've got like some kids who are pretty good at Rocket League. So one day I went into game plan and I like pulled up like the expert stuff. And so then like I was like watching them play, and I was like, oh, you probably could have like scored that if you hit the pinch. And they turned it around and they were like, what's a pinch? And I was like, oh, it's when you like, jam the ball into the wall, or you can do that with a teammate and everything. And they were like, okay.
Respect.
Like, you get respect. Yeah. Street cred. And then there's other kids who, I have this one kid who like all he wants to do is find like the weirdest things to do in the game. Like if you fire we play a lot of Valorant. So he'll be like, oh, did you know that if you fire Sova dart at this angle of the map, it's going to bounce and ricochet, and it'll perfectly show, where the enemy team is. And so like I found, there's an expert course on like Sova by a famous Valorant player. And so he was like, oh, I know this guy. So then he was like, just give me access to everything. Just like make it available, and I'm gonna, so there's a really good variety of assignments that appeal to beginners and also experts, and it's very easy to use. It's very intuitive for the students, and yeah, I really like game plan.
And Jennifer, how are you using it?
I'm using it in my classes, the fundamentals and the exploring interactive media. I'm not currently using it in the esports. My class is like midday, and it's not early enough to be in a tournament. So I'm just using it currently in my classes, but my students love it. I actually, as a teacher, I'm astounded how amazing this program is. It is, whoever designed it or put, they did a phenomenal job. It's got great content in that, and all of my students have benefited from the content in there. It's great. And Tyson said it all. I've got,
Yes.
I don't know what to say after that. It's literally,
Yeah,
he
that's
said it
fine,
all.
Jennifer. That is perfectly fine. Well, as we kind of start to wrap up a little bit, and we do want to leave a little bit for questions, Shima, take us into what are we looking forward to over the next couple months?
Ooh, so much good stuff. Okay, for those of you that are in the any of the attendees that did not see this announcement that I will post right here in chat right here, this says it all. Go ahead and open that up on the on your web browser. But we have announced a partnership with a tiny little video game company called Nintendo. Maybe you've heard of it. And this is fantastic, particularly for our middle schools, to be able to officially offer Super Smash Brothers and Splatoon 3 and Mario Kart for middle school esports teams to be able to compete with here at Generation Esports. Nintendo is very much behind our learning initiative with gaming concepts. For those schools, middle schools that are demonstrating a learning and competitive program at your school, you'll even have opportunities where we can provide you switches for your program. So that's something that you'll want to talk to me about if you're on the West region. Obviously, most of you guys are all in California, so you'll want to talk to me about that, and I can give you more details about how that could be something for you. But it's just really a beautiful partnership there, and something we're very excited about. And I think just really speaks to the quality that Generation Esports is providing schools, that a company like Nintendo would, come alongside of us and endorse us in that way. So that's really wonderful. Rising Champions, my goodness. Okay, summer is right around the corner, people, as you know. Teachers get really excited when they think about that. But part of summer is also summer school. And that can sometimes be tedious depending on what you've been tasked with, but we're here to help. And Gaming Concepts is going to be releasing our Rising Champions program. Now, I have to say, like, this has just been recently unveiled to us on the education team by Christy and Mike on this. So I'm going to defer to her to kind of give more of a description on that. We kind of already talked about the new courses that we have coming out. Shoutcasting and streaming, if you don't have that on the docket for this fall for your kids to be able to bring on, this is something you really want to take a hard look at. These are fantastic courses. As a teacher of 18 years who was a CTE teacher, these were subjects that I taught at my school, and I would have loved to have had this type of curriculum right there at my fingertips, instead of trying to create these things from scratch, to have it done for them. Then you can iterate as you want to, teachers out there that like to do that. But to give that foundation, that really is a strong piece. But Christy, I'm going to bounce it back to you on Rising Champions, because you really know this intimately.
Well, and as we do that, can we maybe unmute people, or if you want to talk, ask a question, because I know we're running short, but I do want people to be able to ask questions for our panelists and us. But Rising Champions really was teachers sitting around going, man, summer school's coming up. How, I have, once again, the 17-year-old, the 19-year-old, and the 10-year-old now. And we thought, what a great enrichment, and what a great even remedial if we could bring esports into schools with solid curriculum where they're learning, and we've hooked them with those esports. And so the best thing to do is to talk to Shima, just because of the way that time's running. And we'll get you hooked up with that too. For middle school, somebody just said, is this for high school too? Right now it's just for middle school. We're going to see how it goes. Okay, some questions. Everyone's been allowed to talk.
Let's see. Julie asked a question about the start dates for the Nintendo season. Stay tuned. That is all I am allowed to say right now. But my hope between, just since you guys are all here in this presentation, my hope is that we will have the final details by the end of the week, but I will deny it if you said, Shima said, no, I'm saying that is my hope. So we shall see, but they are really, really working hard to make this something really fabulous and a top-notch experience for the middle school players and coaches too, as well. So yes, hang in there.
We've got a question here on the Q&A from Michael. Has anyone integrated these pathways with any available relative college credit opportunities dual enrollment? If not, how would you envision that integration? The answer is yes. They can be offered for dual enrollment and concurrent credit especially with Wichita. We know that Wichita State University and Wichita Tech. Is that the same one, Christy? The same system?
Two different. It's actually Wichita State University Tech. Tyson, do you have some insight into this Florida specific? Or Florida? I don't know why I just said Florida. California specific.
Yes and no. But I did want to say that college is kind of we have a very small percentage of our students who actually want to go on to college. And I have a student this year who is like phenomenally smart. He's capable, he's brilliant, all the good things. And he doesn't really he's not doing dual enrollment, so I can't answer for that. But what I can tell you, Michael, is that this student is wanting to go to college for cybersecurity, for digital something. And it wouldn't have happened had he not, been in this class. Like, he was into video games, but like once we did like the shoutcasting and the streaming and all these different careers that are associated with esports, he started applying on his own to the colleges that have good cybersecurity programs, good computer engineering. And so I just wanted to say that, and like, he hadn't even mentioned this to me. And so that was really cool for my site to be able to say like, oh, we got another one going to college.
So Chrissy, Michael, I'm gonna out you here. So Michael and I are actually meeting in the next couple of weeks. He actually works for UC Merced, and so we are going to be talking with our assistant superintendent and our executive director with Michael about creating that dual enrollment with them, as well as looking at Fresno City College and Fresno State as well. But that it would be nice, Alex, maybe to have some input from you as we move forward on what that would really look like in creating that specific course. I mean, I know what I would like it to look like, so that students are getting a little bit of the shoutcasting, the streaming, the networking, like just a touch point on all of those, but specifically creating that course to feed directly into both a state and UC program for California.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just, I'm putting it in the chat here because I looked it up. I can never remember what it's called, but at Wichita State University Tech, which, if there's a partnership there, it's called DMK 120 Basic Digital Editing. And Alex put together an amazing syllabus for it that showed how they match together. So that can be a jumping off point. I can't remember. Chris?
I can put the link to the I just put it in the answer Q&A, but I'll put it in the chat for that syllabus.
Awesome.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right, great. This is you guys can make a copy. You just click on that and make a copy of it. You can kind of see what it looks like, what it could look like as far as the syllabus for dual enrollment. Pretty handy.
And I know we've come up on time here. Any other questions that we can answer for you before we sign off? I do know we are doing another California Dreaming A through G May 2nd. So I know it seems like a long ways down the pike, but it'll be here before we know it. But there will be another one May 2nd. And also please know that we are here to help you. It's the esports community, the teaching community, and then add that with the esports community. All the help that you need is just a Zoom call away. And the other thing is we can put you in contact. If we can't help you, we can put you in contact with people that have probably done this. A year ago, 2 years ago, I could not have said that, but there are enough schools now in California, specifically in the United States, that are doing this in different, make it look like your school. So people ask us, how should we implement this? It depends on your school, because there's a lot of ways that you can do this. And especially since it is so new and people don't have that stereotype, this is what a math class should look like, this is what an English class should look like. I mean, it's really a great way to have that autonomy to build something really cool that students love and to build it with the students. All right, well, I would like to thank our panelists, Jennifer, Tyson, Julie. Thank you for taking the time. It means so much more when it comes from practitioners who are there, who are out in the trenches doing it. We really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. California
Thanks,
Dreamin',
everybody.
A through G.
Yep, thank you.